when all of a sudden coming across my feed was one Brianna Turner from the Indiana Fever firing shots towards the fan base. I kid you not. Jay just signed this poison pill. I've made 2 videos today. Look, it is what it is. Here we go. We talked about what? They wanted a strong locker room, a locker room that wasn't going to explode, a locker room that wasn't going to blow up. The Indiana Fever, clearly, I'm sorry, I've actually had some people unsubscribe.
So, in a kind of a surprising turn of events, the Indiana Fever have made yet another move this offseason, and they have signed Bree Turner to the roster.
The Indiana Fever made a big splash this WNBA offseason by signing Brianna Turner, shaking things up across the league. The move caught everyone's attention, sparking rivalries and fueling new drama. Angel Reese's fiery reaction says it all. Turner's decision to leave the Chicago Sky and join forces with Caitlin Clark in Indiana is the latest chapter in what's turning into the most thrilling and dramatic offseason the WNBA has ever seen.
Whether it's through penetration, getting in the post, pounding the paint, offensive rebounds, they do.
Shooting very efficiently, 11 of 17, has hit some threes as Reese could not bank it in. Reese gets the hands in, a little revenge on Martin. Shovel it, hole, 3, bottom.
Reese was shocked by the move. Indiana is already building a powerhouse roster, and now with Turner on board, they just got a whole lot tougher.
Turns out those awe-inspiring performances from her days in college did in fact translate to the pros. Because even against the best defense in the world, she is pretty much an offensive cheat code. Throughout her rookie season, with points and assists, Clark generated 45.2% of all points produced by the Indiana Fever. For perspective, she has a larger offensive load than every single player in the NBA last season.
Fever fans were celebrating like they'd already won the championship, while Chicago fans were left stunned, wondering how their team would recover.
By 9 in the fourth, and on the shoulders of Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark.
And that's not all. This signing has teams like the Las Vegas Aces keeping a close eye on Indiana. But before we dive into how this move could change the league, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest WNBA news, drama, and updates.
People weren't sure whether it was going to be a training camp contract or anything. But no, she got her own video. She got her own, like, it wasn't just like oh, I'm so excited to be a member of the Fever. No, she got her own, like, the Fever made their own edited video explaining why she was signed and what she's going to bring to the team. Bree Turner is going to be on the team. So unless they, unless they trade Christy Wallace.
When Brianna Turner signed with the Indiana Fever, the WNBA world went wild. Fans and analysts were stunned. Turner, who had been a key player for the Chicago Sky, was leaving to join a Fever team that already had Caitlin Clark and Aja Wilson. The timing was both perfect and controversial, making it one of the biggest moves of the offseason.
The Fever aren't done making moves, albeit small ones, at this point in the offseason. They're just filling out the roster. But it was noticed that on the WNBA transactions page, there was a new signing posted regarding the Indiana Fever. As you can see, it's right here. Brianna Turner signed a contract with the Indiana Fever Sunday, February 16th, 2025. No idea what the terms of that deal are, whether it's guaranteed, any of those things, but it is a player coming from the Chicago Sky.
Turner's signing moved the Fever one step closer to building a dynasty. Aja Wilson welcomed her with a simple "Let's hoop" tweet, but that didn't calm the storm. Fever fans were already calling them the league's best team, while rival fan bases were blowing up on social media. The Chicago front office stayed quiet, but Angel Reese had a lot to say.
What's going on, my Fly Happy family? It's your boy Izzy. Welcome if you're new. So apparently chaos has broken out once again on the internet about Brianna Turner being signed to the Indiana Fever. And a lot of mixed emotions, but a lot of people are really mad about this. So we're going to have to dig all the way into the whole story to actually understand what's going on.
This wasn't just a basketball move, it was about shifting the balance of power in the league. Every offseason decision the Fever made showed they were serious, and with Turner now on board, they are one step closer to building a true powerhouse.
Back from a defeat, Angel Reese at center, and for men, It's a long two. Reese is usually due for one of those pickpockets.
Angel Reese didn't hold back. The fiery star forward was clearly frustrated when she heard about Turner leaving, and it's easy to see why. Turner had been a key player for Chicago, and now she was strengthening the Fever's frontcourt. Reese, always the underdog, really felt the sting of this loss.
Position where you can add some pieces.
Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position, and I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her.
The Indiana Fever's franchise has undergone a remarkable transformation, flipping the script from a team struggling at the bottom of the standings to one that's poised for greatness. Just 2 seasons ago, the Fever seemed stuck in a losing streak, but fast forward to today.
Excited. I think, obviously our goal of reaching the playoffs last year we accomplished. Now, we want to be a championship contender. I think we're putting in the pieces to be able to do that.
The buzz around the league was impossible to ignore. Fever fans started trolling Chicago, saying, "You can keep Angel Reese, we've got Caitlin Clark, AJA Wilson, and Brianna Turner now." The disrespect was loud and clear. On the other hand, Chicago fans were left wondering who they had left. Sure, they still had Marina Mabrey and Dana Evans, but it didn't seem like enough to stop the Fever's revamped roster. Reese, determined not to let this define Chicago's future, doubled down on her loyalty, saying, "We're going to be just fine." But actions speak louder than words, and unless Chicago makes some big moves, their path to the playoffs is looking tough.
Bonner gets denied by Boston. Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
The Indiana Fever's offseason strategy has been nothing short of genius. They weren't just signing players, they were building a powerhouse. Natasha Howard, Sydney Coulson, Sophie Cunningham, and Dawanna Borner were all recent additions, and with Brianna Turner now joining the team, they've put together one of the deepest rosters in the league.
Lexi Hall was a big-time contributor for Team Rose in their big-time win yesterday. She had 6.6 rebounds in 6 minutes. Definitely needs to get more time. But we've been hearing all about Lexi Hall could be on the chopping block. Stephanie White is going to get rid of her. Well, her and Stephanie White just had an interaction. For this one, we head to
Indiana's head coach, Stephanie White, wasn't here to waste time. She saw Caitlin Clark as the centerpiece of the team and immediately started building around her. Every move the Fever made pointed to one goal, winning a championship. There was no rebuilding phase, they were ready to win now. Other franchises, especially Las Vegas and New York, were watching closely, nervous about what was happening in Indiana. They knew the Fever weren't just stacking talent, they were creating the chemistry needed to win a championship.
Got a layup, and instead, only when they getting back again with the personals. Good player.
While Indiana fans were celebrating, Chicago Sky supporters were left speechless. Losing Turner felt like a gut punch to a team already struggling. They hadn't even made the playoffs last season, and now their roster looked even weaker. Social media was flooded with Sky fans venting their frustration. "We still have Angel Reese," they said, but was that enough? Chicago's front office preached patience, but patience isn't stopping the Fever from building a super team. And let's be honest, waiting didn't work for them last season. Reese's leadership was important, but she couldn't carry the team on her own. Chicago needed reinforcements, and fast. Without major changes, the Sky's chances of contending were shrinking every day.
Hey, we'll take it out. 1.1, looking for Wilson to put it up. Beats the clock.
The Las Vegas Aces weren't untouched by the chaos. MVP AJA Wilson was keeping a close eye on Indiana's moves, and each new signing only added more pressure. While the Aces still had plenty of talent, they couldn't ignore the Fever's rapid rise. Wilson's leadership remained strong, but the Aces front office hadn't made any major moves. Fans were already calling for trades and free agent pickups, and the sense of urgency was clear. If the Fever's plan was to intimidate the rest of the league, it was definitely working. Even powerhouse teams like the Aces were feeling the heat. Make no mistake, this is Caitlin Clark's team. From the moment she hit the court, it was clear that Indiana was building around her. With Stephanie White as her coach, Clark had every tool she needed to thrive. Turner's addition only boosted that. Elite defense? Check. Championship experience? Check. Clark was no longer just a rising star, she was now the leader of a potential super team. Other teams would have to figure out how to stop her, and with Indiana's stacked roster, that was easier said than done.
I'm going to be the best teammate that I can be. I'm going to be the loudest on the bench. I'm going to be the most supportive that I can be. I'm going to be the most talkative.
There she is, right?
Angel Reese's reaction to Brianna Turner's move wasn't just disappointment, it was pure fire. Her competitive edge lit up social media, and you could almost feel her determination in every post. She's the heartbeat of Chicago now, and she knows it. But despite Reese's unwavering confidence, reality is hard to ignore. Sky fans are left asking, what's the plan? With Turner gone and no big signings on the horizon, Reese is stuck with the same roster that missed the playoffs last season.
Reese attacking. Count the bucket and the foul. Angel Reese gonna head back to
the Sky front office tried to calm the storm, throwing around phrases like strategic patience, but patience doesn't work when your rivals are charging ahead. Indiana isn't waiting for anyone, and Reese knows it. Every day Chicago stays stagnant is another step closer to being left behind. The frustration is growing, and fans are getting restless. They want moves, action, and wins, and they want them now.
Or I guess I shouldn't say it was a question or even that it was shocking to hear, because I think something we need to start talking about or getting comfortable with is that in the W, just like other sports leagues, if you're great at your job, you can be poached at any time. And that's not shameful. That's not wrong. That's the name of the game, right? Teams want to be successful. We don't have to tiptoe around it, by any means necessary.
Meanwhile, Indiana Fever fans weren't just excited, they were over the moon. Their front office wasn't making empty promises, they were delivering. With Caitlin Clark, AJA Wilson, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, and now Brianna Turner, the Fever's transformation was turning heads all over the league. They didn't just want to compete, they were aiming to dominate.
All right, headline number 2. Let's talk about these new WNBA coaches making waves now. Y'all seeing the Chicago Sky, Coach T, they let her go after one season, which was crazy to me. They let the Indiana Fever head coach go, which was kind of not surprising, but kind of, right? Tyler Marsh, the development coach that was a coach on the Aces, he's not a head coach of the Chicago Sky. He's now the head coach of the Chicago Sky. But let me tell y'all, the Indiana Fever having Stephanie White as a head coach, I really like that. I love that. I feel like she a player's coach. I even remember when she was recruiting me at Vanderbilt.
Let's break down what Indiana has done in just a few whirlwind days. The Fever completely reshaped their future. Kelsey Mitchell secured a max deal, locking in their cornerstone scorer. Natasha Howard returned, bringing championship experience and versatility. Then came Sophie Cunningham, a trash-talking, shot-making powerhouse who adds swagger to the court. And now, Brianna Turner, with elite defense and veteran presence. Stephanie White's strategy is clear: build an army around Caitlin Clark, and do it fast. The Fever aren't talking about rebuilding, they're talking championships, and they're acting like it too. With this lineup, Indiana has the pieces for a deep playoff run, but the big question is, can they gel fast enough to make it happen this season? Other teams are watching nervously. The New York Liberty and Las Vegas Aces may have been the league's superpowers last season, but now the Fever are firmly in the conversation. And the Aces? They're feeling the pressure. AJA Wilson, the reigning MVP, must be feeling like she's stranded on an island. With free agency shaking up the league, the Aces haven't made any big moves to keep up with the competition. Watching Brianna Turner join Caitlin Clark's Fever had to feel like salt in the wound. Aces fans are spiraling. Every new move by the Fever feels like another gut punch to their championship hopes. Social media exploded with frustration. One fan tweeted, "Where's our big signing?" Others posted memes of Wilson carrying the Aces on her back like a superhero. It's not just about talent, it's about morale. Teams like Indiana are stacking up, and Aces fans are starting to worry they've been left behind.
I'm like, y'all eat. We tried.
Wilson's competitive spirit is legendary. If anyone can carry a team, it's her. But she's also smart enough to know she can't win it all alone. The big question now is, will the Aces step up and make the moves needed to keep pace with the Fever, or are we witnessing a shift in power?
When you say Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, people are like, oh my goodness, they don't like each other, so let's see what this is about.
Yeah.
So when you say Cheryl Swoops, Caitlin Clark, it's like, oh my goodness, Cheryl doesn't like her, so let's see what this is about. All of that's stupid to me. It's not true. It's all stupid. Like, when I look at the number 22s in the league, like I was 22, Asia's 22, Caitlin's 22. Like, those are some hell of a good number 22s.
Period.
And we're all a part of the Nike family. It just, like, a lot of the stuff that people are trying to say is there, it just does not exist.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I really am. And I can only imagine that she has to be tired of it as well.
Let's talk about Cheryl Swoops for a moment. Remember her infamous statement last year, "Players don't want to play in Indiana," said with such bold confidence? Well, times have certainly changed. With nearly half the league now wearing Indiana's colors, Swoops might need to rethink her words. The Fever's ability to attract top talent this offseason has been nothing short of phenomenal. What changed? 2 words, Caitlin Clark. Clark isn't just a player, she's a movement. Her star power is undeniable, and veterans like Brianna Turner want in on the action. Indiana has quickly become the league's hottest destination, and they're not stopping anytime soon. Swoops comments? They're now the punchline of Fever fan banter. Nobody wants to play here. Look again. The rest of the league is watching with wide eyes and clenched jaws, wondering what's coming next.
It's about Stephanie White, the future to come, and we gotta talk Unrivaled because that is fascinating in and of itself.
Stephanie White is back, Caitlin Clark has arrived, and the Fever aren't just building a team, they're creating something far bigger. Hull's revelations about what's happening behind the scenes hint at a transformation that's bold and unlike anything we've seen before.